So in our last film we had a little bit of fun talking about the need to raise recycling in the public's consciousness. We weren't really asking for more bins around the city, but it wouldn't do any harm. The real message that we were trying to get across was that there's a lot of work that needs to be done about changing people's perceptions about the value of recycling, so that they can genuinely get encouraged to actually separate materials out and avoid them being sent to landfill. Well, who better to talk to on this subject than Doug Woodring from the Ocean Recovery Alliance? And I started by asking him if he could explain to us what is the Plastics Disclosure Project.
Right, so PDP is the Plastic Disclosure Project, and we launched this at the Clean Global Initiative a few years ago. It's very much like carbon and water reporting. We're just trying to get companies and institutions to report their annual plastic use or their waste creation or waste footprint, with the premise that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Right.
So there's no bad number, but get the number. And when you get the number, then you can understand how to then make improvements and efficiencies and decreases in your waste profile. And plastic is something we all use. All companies use it, but we all treat it as a very more or less disposable product, but it has actually more value than steel. The question is, how can we aggregate that resource and get it back into a circular chain that is then good for everyone along the way?
And as somebody who's done communications on plastics recycling in many different countries, what should we be doing here in Hong Kong to try and improve people's participation and involvement in recycling programs?
Well, I think one challenge is that a lot of people don't feel the system works. So even though there are bins, technically those bins are quite small, and there's one bin for an area where there might be 3,000 people living. If those people really wanted to recycle, those bins would get filled up in 5 minutes. So that doesn't help the perception of really trying. Then people see the bins getting emptied into black garbage bags, which are not transparent, and they don't know where they're going to get shipped to, and a lot does go to the non-recycling landfill. And so people think their efforts are going for naught. We really need to change that mentality. I think the waste charging scheme will have a big impact, because people will start to think about what they're going to get charged for, how they can defer that charge if they can recycle, and that will make a big difference.
Well, Douglas is absolutely right, of course, and it's one of the things which has struck me coming to this town, as somebody who's done communications on recycling and the environment right the way around the globe, is there's a massive gap here between people's perceptions about what they can do for the environment and the practicalities. And that's where government must step in. The government has got the responsibility and the funding to make a real difference in this area. And there's 3 simple steps. The first thing they should do is invest in the technical, practical realities about making recycling happen. Yes, that does mean more bins and more things in people's homes to help them recycle more effectively. Secondly, they need to run an education and awareness program so everybody sees a value in actually recycling and understands what's expected of them. And the third thing is they must invest in the reprocessing industries so that they can demonstrate, beyond anybody's perception, that if you recycle your valuable materials, they will be turned into goods which can be used again with genuine environmental benefit. It's not difficult, it can be done.